Okay, team, welcome back to the Anchor of the Week, where we have hard conversations, hear people's stories, and challenge perspectives. My name is Zach.
And I'm Courtney.
And we are wrapping up the series today, team, of our series on spirituality.
Yes.
And we're in a slightly different location, back to the roots, if you like.
Yes. The studio before the studio that we had before the other studio that we had for 1 week.
There we go.
When we were studio hopping.
That's where we are today, yeah. We basically just want to wrap up our series today, kind of touch on the things that kind of stuck out to us a little bit, things that we've learned, things that we're going to take away into the next chapter.
Yeah.
And then also talk about kind of what we want to do with the podcast a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So exciting things.
Yeah, a wrap up and like a reset, shall we say. But yeah, this series, I enjoyed this series so much, but it's really interesting because I feel like at the same time, we could go on forever and ever interviewing different people, hearing different people's stories, but yet I always feel like it comes back to the same couple points, you know? So we could have a very long and expansive series that's also very redundant, if we kept on going.
Yeah.
But I thought that was so interesting. And that shows like the human heart as well, and like how we are all more or less after the same things.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool.
What were those points?
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone is, wanting to be part of something bigger. And, okay, of course there are exceptions, you know what I mean? And they're obviously not every belief is the exact same. But when we talk to people about searching for spirituality or really kind of like, I don't know, leaned into it, of course we had people like, yeah, no, like there can't be anything more than this, There are those people. But the people that are actually searching, because they want to do as best as they can to be as best as they can.
Yeah.
Like in this life, and however they found it, whatever they've come across first that seems like it kind of works for them, they'll go for it, so maybe it's a completely different belief, to somebody else, but the heart of that is still the same. It's this understanding like, okay, like there has to be more than just what I'm living right now, and that's cool.
It is, it was good. I feel like touching on that as well, I think that something that it showed me was, or just reminded me, it was kind of like, I think at the start of the series, I was like, why would people look for something that suits them the best or find something that works for them the best?
Yeah.
Like, that didn't make sense to me because obviously the whole idea of truth and that being relative and, it's very easy for us as Christians to be like, cool, like, why would you look, like, you need to look for something that is truth and that's what you need to align your life with. But, like, if you aren't a Christian, you haven't been raised up in that kind of family or, those things around you, it's like, obviously you would look for what's best for you and what feels best.
Yeah.
Right? It's so obvious. It's like, I feel like it's really, actually this whole series has brought a lot more, like I feel like I have a lot more grace or empathy with people and their thoughts now on things like that.
And I think empathy is also the key word because, okay, like I still don't agree with half the things that we, heard on the podcast, but there is so much empathy. And this is why we have the hard conversations with people and we hear people's stories because you can come in so easily with like an idea of like, well, I know this is true, at least for me, this is what I believe as to be truth, and you have someone else sitting on the couch beside you that does not see that at all, but that does not mean that, like they have their own convictions. Doesn't mean it's right, wrong, whatever. Like, but it's that fact of like, well, they wouldn't think that it's right if it wasn't the best thing that they found so far.
Yeah.
And so who are we to judge that? Of course we still like speak the truth, and we don't like dilute that at all.
Yeah.
But it needs to come from a more empathetic way because
for sure, yeah.
Like,
well, I don't think you can come at it from the right heart if you don't have grace within the conversation,
Yeah.
Or, like you can't come into it being like, this is the way it is. And you need to hear that kind of thing. I just don't, I was thinking on the way here, like as I was thinking about this episode, I was like, I actually don't think you can have a conversation about different opinions without having like a form of grace or empathy.
Because then you end up attacking the person and not the topic because it just becomes a I'm right and you're wrong battle.
Yeah.
But it's never about that, And even, I don't know, we were talking with some friends like really recently as well about how you can like confront someone or whatever, but it's like, or you have like a lot of questions, but like it's addressing the heart of the questions, So we can sit here and argue the points all we want about, well, I believe, in the, absolute truth and like word of God, and some believes in meditation, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But okay, like you could go back and forth on that literally all day, trying to prove points.
Yeah.
But when you're okay, like, but why? Why are you using that? Why do I believe this? What is it, in me that like sees that as, you know what I mean? Like when you actually get to the heart of things, like I feel like that's when things completely change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I for sure agree with that. And I think you got it also just, I mean, a lot of reminders and a lot of like kind of pushes and stuff, but I think we need to have conversations with like for example, we have conversations amongst Christians. We'll chat about stuff, right? But you have to go out and have conversations with non-Christians or people who don't believe what you believe almost. Because I think when you like, I don't know, amongst Christians, it's like, it's very easy to chat and understand each other and stuff like that. And
because you're coming from this certain foundation that you agree upon. So even if you have differences, you can always come back to, well,
But the way I talk to you about this, I can't just talk to someone else who doesn't know anything about God or doesn't believe in that with someone else. I can't use the same words. I can't use the same metaphors or whatever. So it's almost like it's just learning how to have a conversation with someone with a difference of opinion. And that's why you almost just need to have those conversations with people. So it's just like a bit of an encouragement. It's like push yourself to have those conversations with other people because otherwise you're just in your own little bubble and you just, you don't learn anything almost.
And the goal of the conversation should never be just to like get the other person to see your point.
Yeah.
Like if that is like what you're trying to get out of it, then there's like no use, you know what I mean? But if it's, again, to actually make each other think deeper about something, maybe you leave the conversation with like, no, like, okay, yeah, great. Now we both believe this, or this is, oh, you finally see my point of view, but it's like, maybe you'll leave. We'll be like, okay, we still think what we each think, but maybe we'll start to think about it a bit more, you know? Because I think that's just the main point too. Like the point should not be to prove your point.
Yeah. There we go.
Simple enough.
Yeah. Something else that stuck out to me about the series as well was from our last episode with Letitia. She was talking about how, like, we were going back and forwards about, I remember I was questioning her about, like, what are you standing on and all this stuff. And then eventually, like, understanding that she feels like she needs to do the hard work in terms of being able to find the solution for her life. And obviously then for me, it's like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot more sense, I think, when you look at people who are searching for spirituality or searching for something. It's like, okay, you feel like you have to put the hard work in and the hard miles to figure the solution and the right paths out, Whereas we believe there's someone out there for us to be able to have that almost figured out, So, yeah, it's just made me, I guess, more empathetic again, but that's something else that was highlighted to me.
Yeah. And I think it also goes back to what I was saying, like, at the beginning as well, of, like, what was I saying at the beginning? I just lost this thought.
Good question.
Great. Maybe we're not going to go back to what I said at the beginning.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's gone. It's completely gone.
Okay. Empathy. We mentioned that. No, you can't.
We mentioned empathy. How many times can we mention empathy in one podcast?
You can't remember.
No, I can't remember at all. So you're going to have to take this one now.
Okay, great. Yeah, anyway, I mean, I don't know if there's any other points that stuck out to you about the series and stuff, but I think it's also kind of segueing on and moving forward. I feel like it's given us a chance, honestly, to kind of be looking a little bit about, like, actually these conversations. And we're talking about it now, but it's almost given us a little bit of a new direction, if you like, on how we want to take the podcast forward. Yeah. Well,
I think we're always growing, but this is what I love about the fact that we are in, like, the quote unquote studio, you know what I mean? Because it's not really a studio, if you know what I'm saying. That we used to film in, and okay, we're gonna go on a little tangent, but when we did the episode where we had to, like, guess where the quotes were from, right? So it's on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. It's a great trip down memory lane. We were like, oh my goodness, like, look at how, like, the quality has, like, improved, our sound, our studio, everything, right? And then being here, like, kind of being reminded of the roots, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also in this episode where we're kind of like, okay, how have we grown as a podcast? But, like, we still have so much to keep growing in, which I love. And I love that you guys listening, watching, get to be a part of this as well, as Zach and I literally figure out what the heck we're doing, you know what I mean? Or, like, how we have this goal, we have this vision, of having these hard conversations and attacking topics and not people. But, like, we don't have it figured out yet, which I kind of love.
Yeah.
And I love that it's a process and you can see us learning and growing from it.
Because we literally have been we've had hard conversations and been challenged. And, like, it's almost like we've applied all of the things that we talk about.
Yeah, which is good. It means we're living it out. Yeah.
Right. No, but for real, yeah.
Yeah,
it's good.
It is good. So, like, we want to have more of these hard conversations, but we also want to make sure, like, that we are challenging perspectives, you know?
Yeah.
And like to have them in the healthy way, because we can say, hey guys, this is what we do here, or like we encourage you to do this, but if we're not doing it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Right.
but you can learn with us. And I hope this is also encouraging, because it's hard to have these conversations.
Yeah.
You know, because you have empathy, you have grace, you love people, you know,
Yeah.
and I say you, I mean everyone, hopefully.
And me.
That's the goal. And you do. Right? So like
Yeah.
you know, sometimes when you're in a conversation, you almost feel like, oh, I feel like I should say something, but I shouldn't say it because how is it going to come across? And like
Yeah.
all of this. But yeah, I think you have to be secure in the conversation as well. Like, but that's what I loved with our conversation with Letitia.
Yeah. That
last
was a
week.
big one for us, I feel like.
It was huge. And like, it was really encouraging for us because we're like, wow, like we actually felt like there's so much we did not agree on, but we also vocalized that, you know?
Yeah.
But she's such a a great person. I was gonna say a legit person. She's legit.
She is legit as well.
Yeah. And like very comfortable to be with her, right?
Yeah.
And so like we felt that space to be like, oh, actually I disagree. Okay. And she could challenge us back, which was awesome too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that really plays a part.
Yeah.
So then not only how do you have these conversations, but how do you create the environment where these conversations can actually thrive without becoming defensive or
Right.
offensive or
Yeah.
etc.
I think where we were at before was we created the environment to have a conversation, but I feel
Yeah.
like the conversations that we were having just wasn't punchy enough in the
Yeah.
sense of like you were talking about. Are we actually confronting? Are we actually challenging perspectives? And then it doesn't become a hard conversation without that. So
Exactly.
so we
It just becomes educational.
yeah
Which is great. We need to learn, you know.
yeah
But yeah, at the same time.
yeah. We kind of want to bring like a topic forward and then be able to discuss on from
Yeah.
both hands or both perspectives of things as well. So
Yeah.
that's the direction.
That's the direction. How cool would that be? You know, to have a topic and then a bunch of people who we already know see that topic differently
Yeah.
attacking that topic
Yeah.
and not one another.
And we want this to be a platform to be able to, I mean, I guess you kind of just said this, but like where we're able to be the example and be able to show that how to do this almost in that sense.
Yeah.
I think before it was a little bit maybe too much of a platform to just share about what's going on
Yeah.
without enough of the kind
Yeah.
of the spice, I feel like.
Yeah, but I feel like as we go, we learn how we can be also more strategic. And I feel like this is not just for us as a podcast, you know what I mean? But so many times in life or whatever we're doing, it's like, okay, like I've reached this goal, or like, yeah, okay, we're doing it. We have weekly podcasts, we're attacking topics on people more or less, you know what I mean? We could be content. We could be very content with where we're at right now.
Yeah.
But always being like, okay, but how can we be better? And now this is where I struggle because I'm like, we need to be the best at everything all the time, right? Like,
Right.
come on, excellence, perfection, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. Right? But to have that healthy, like, let's not get like stuck. Let's see how we can, yeah, this is great, but like, it could be better. It could always be better, and not like we're going to beat ourselves up because of it sort of way. But I think that's like a really good life principle too. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
maybe where you're at right now is fine and it's good, you know, and whatever aspect of life you want to bring this into. But like, hey, is there a way that it could be more effective, more strategic, more like aligned with
Yeah.
the vision, with the goal, you know? That's just
Yeah.
my inspirational
spiel.
speech for you
Spiel.
today.
Yeah. Okay, so moving back to kind of wrapping up the series and moving on. So do you think, I think that one of the questions that we looked at and we were kind of asking ourselves as well and like looking at like, oh, the guests that we've had on and stuff like that, like the whole concept, like, is it better to believe in something rather than nothing? Like, so the guests we've had on have actually had something that they've been chewing on and stuff like that. Like, it's better to speak to people like that, or is it better to just not have an opinion almost?
Yeah.
And so it's like that whole concept of, I personally think it's better that we have guests on, or not even just to do with our guests, but just in general, like the whole like have something you're chewing on, or have something that you're like fighting for,
Yeah.
rather than just being numb to anything that could be out there.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I definitely agree. I think, again, we're coming at it from a absolute truth perspective as well, right? So I would say, for me, and I'm sorry if this is offensive, I'm not very sorry actually, but like, I'd rather you believe in the wrong thing than nothing at all,
Right.
right? Because I can't believe that everything is right, you know? But if you are believing, as you said, in something,
Yeah.
like, and you have kind of like that, maybe like you're aware of your need. I
Right.
think that is way better than being like, well, like, no, like either I don't need anything or I don't want to put in the work to figure out if I need anything. Because I think even just in the humility of saying, okay, like, actually, like, I do need something more than just myself, you know.
Yeah.
Like there has to be something a bit more, and I'm
Right.
willing to go try to discover what that is. You know, no matter kind of where you land in that. I think in that moment of key like humility is really where a lot of things happen. You know, and I think that is something that like really, I don't say makes us better people, because I really don't like that, you know what I mean? But like,
But it does, yeah.
you know what I mean? But it does.
Yeah.
Like, I think it just already gives you that extra level of depth as a person. Like, you chose to go deeper. You chose to get uncomfortable. You chose to admit that maybe you don't have all the answers right now. You know, like all these things that like are actually an active choice, you know? But it really, I don't know, I think it's really commendable to put yourself on the line for something.
Yeah.
Right? And so maybe I think it's right, maybe I think it's wrong, according to my belief and what I believe is truth, you know?
Yeah.
But I still admire that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, because it is kind of that, I guess, letting go in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I feel like for me, like it just shows initiative, which I'm a big fan of. So
Big fan of.
yeah. So like it's just the whole concept of like they're like chasing for something in their life. You know, they're not just happy or content with with where things are at, but like it's almost like they have hope. But even though I don't agree with where the hope is or direction that the hope is going in, it's like at least like they're still like, I don't know, when you live a life with hope, I just feel like you're taking more out of life. You're really grasping it by the neck and just taking it on rather than just flying and floating about, you know. I struggle with floaters.
Yeah. It reminds me of the whole thing of like you can't like steer a boat that's not moving, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it's a boat, some sort of vehicle. But you know, like, okay, I can turn the wheel, but if the car's not moving, nothing's going to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if we're going, maybe you're going in the wrong direction, but you can still steer, right? Like, you know, you can't correct a path if you're not going down a path, right? So, yeah, I love that. It's that momentum. It's moving. It's, initiative.
Yeah.
So that is great.
Yeah. And another point that's come to my mind as well is like just from the series, I think, and we kind of touched on this a little bit, but just to elaborate, it's like the whole concept of like not judging people by, I guess, your own standards almost. And I guess it's in line with empathy and grace, but it's the idea that like just because this is where I live my life and I've got like my beliefs and stuff like that, I can't have a conversation with someone thinking that they're in line with these same things, right?
Exactly. I think about this a lot actually, or like even like within my friends or people that I know, we might not even be talking about spirituality, but like I can't expect someone like, okay, maybe I've had like a revelation about something like, oh, okay, like in this, you know, I don't know. I'm acting out of my pride when I do this. Maybe this person has not had that revelation yet.
Right.
So I can't expect them to come like, you know, or to behave like I want them to behave because they haven't lived through what I've lived through, you know, or had the experiences or the growing seasons, you know what I mean? Like we all are at different paces and go through different things, you know, that grow different things in us. So it's that whole thing of like, tough, I can't expect you to act like I would act in this situation. Right. And that's, I think, really just a great thing to kind of wrap your mind around because it really helps your relationships in general. But also in this series, like I can't expect you to understand where I'm coming from if you haven't experienced spiritual fulfillment the way that I have.
Yeah, right. Same thing,
Yeah.
I do think it goes beyond, I mean, it does go beyond just the spiritual, the whole like religion and worldviews and stuff like that. I think it goes in, like you were saying, like the relationships especially because, I don't know, it's just, a kind of interesting idea because you've got your standards and you're expecting them to do the exact same things that like you would do, but obviously they're in a completely different place, like you were saying. So how do I multiply the same like almost heart that I have or the same kind of, I feel like you have to like strip the layers off a little bit. And like we'd said earlier, discuss like where the heart is coming from.
I was just going to say
and
that.
then like not attacking that.
Then just attack it. Just go in for the kill.
No. But like, you know, dealing with that almost, you know, and it's actually something I've been thinking about aside from the podcast and worldview and, you know, whatever chats. But it's like, how do I multiply a heart that I have for something?
Yeah.
You know, and actions are just actions, but like they come from a heart or they come from something. So it's like, I feel like rather than like pinpointing the actions of something and being like, hey, you need to do this. Like, this is how you're supposed to work or how you're supposed to live or how you're supposed to do this, etc. This task, whatever, But like, I don't know, me attacking those actions is not going to solve, or it's not going to give a long-term solution to something, right?
Exactly.
So I feel like it's, how do we portray that. I don't know. How do we explain that?
Yeah, it's the whole thing of like, we're not after behavior modification. We're here for heart transformation, right? Like, you can change your habits, or maybe that's a wrong word because I know you're really into changing habits. So for the sake of you, will rephrase this. You can change your actions, you can change your behaviors all you want, but if you're still the same person on the inside, you know, like, we don't grow by changing the way that we behave. We grow by changing who we become.
Right.
Maybe?
I think so.
Is that correct?
No. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah. Changing your heart, and then the actions follow. Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Whatever that was.
We're gonna start signing on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's great. And I love that about the podcast as well, is that like we can talk about something, okay, like very specific, very niche, you know, like searching for spirituality, or we've done a lot of interesting like series in the past, but how you can actually just take that and literally even apply it to your friendships, your workplace, your whatever. I love that about this. Yeah. It's so practical and tangible.
Beautiful.
It is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yes. And speaking about series as well, if you guys listening, watching, have any ideas, or like, hey, I really want you guys to talk about this or to start interviewing about this, please let us know. In the comments, send us a DM, however you want to get involved with us. If you know us, you can also come and just talk to us face to face. But yeah, because we want to talk about the things that you want to talk about as well. And we want to walk through these journeys together. Maybe if there is a certain topic that you're not sure how to bring it up with your friends, your family, whatever it might be, let's do it together. How fun would that be? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So fun. You can watch us like struggle through it, so you can struggle through it less. Learn from our mistakes.
Let us suffer before you.
Yes. Yeah. But I think we're at a really great place as a podcast, as a whole team. As I look around the room to the others in the room, it's not just Zach and I, as you guys know. But yeah, like, we're constantly growing, but I'm really excited to see like what the future has for us as we like take what we've learned even from this series and like apply it, expand it. Yeah. I think it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, it will. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, team, thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
And like Courtney said, please fire in questions or let us know. Let us know if you have anything you want to discuss or want us to discuss, things that are challenging, etc. And we will see you next time.
We'll see you later.
Thank you so much for joining us at the Anchor of the Week, where we have hard conversations, hear people's stories, and challenge perspectives.
Remember, you can stay connected by following us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, as well as subscribing to our YouTube channel.
Hope these conversations are inspiring you to have hard convos as well.
We'll see you next time, and remember, attack topics and not people.